Hey everybody, it's me, your best buddy Basil. We're here, I think. I'm here. Who else is here? Who do we got? Ooh, we got Shield Labs in the house over on the YouTube. Let's see who else we got here. Not seeing anybody coming in. Just gonna wait a couple minutes, see who shows up. Shalomi, my homies, Shield Labs, good to see you, buddy. We got Kira OC in the house. Once again, I'm not sure if my personal Rumble is working. Let me try to click around, see if I can kind of feel like Gons, you know, when I have trouble using a website. It's like I'm a 40-year-old jazz-playing Asian dad. There we go. Who is this? Squiress Stewart. Hello. I think I'm saying that right. Or Squires Stewart. Hello. Over on the Rumbles. Okay, folks. I'm getting my brains starting to work here. Oh, who do we got? Mitchell, what's up, buddy? Faye Liverin in the house. Skipperky, Colin, Melanie. Hey, you guys are so nice. Hey, everybody, how you doing? All right, we got a great show today. Here at the top, the pre-show, just, you know what? I will do a reminder. You can send in pre-show prayers. That would be fun if we could get sort of a more of a, I don't know, consistent pre-show prayer thing going on. But I get it. Everybody's busy. It's a whole thing. But remember, you can go to canarycrynewstalk.com, and just like how you would leave us a voice message, you'll see a green tab on the right-hand side of the bottom. And if you want to participate, go ahead and leave us a pre-show prayer. We'll play it so everybody who gets here early can pray along with you. It's a good way to start out the show. I think it's going to be here's the thing. I'll talk about it in the show, but for you early peeps, I know I did a lot of talking. Did a lot of talking last episode, and I paid for it dearly. I was in a lot of pain yesterday, recovering. I did not think that doing the show would have such an effect, but it did sort of irritate lots of things in my abdomen, and I was pretty much in bed all day. It was bad. So I'm going to make an attempt to balance out my participation in the show as to not send my body spiraling into a vortex of pain for the next 2 days. So keep me in your prayers. I know I sound good, enthusiastic, recovered, but there is still quite a bit of recovery to go. So thank you everybody for doing that. Other than that, I think we will be starting out the show. Let's just start the show. Let's do it, baby. Okay, let's go. Oh yeah, you can produce the show. Producers would be great today. A little bit light. Canary Cry. .support. Okay, here we go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is June 16th, 2023. We are live to tape on episode 634, and today, Mutant Cyber Virus. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gons, director of the Age of Deceit films. Wife calls me the Cabana Boy, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Live to tape from California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And today's immersion phenomena, I can't help, it's a bittersweet feeling that I'm having. I'm having emotions pass through me. This will be the last time, at least for the foreseeable future, that I'll be broadcasting from this office room space. And I think it's been about 3 years here. So, yeah.
It's the dawning of a new era.
New era.
Yes.
New situation. It shouldn't be too different for people listening and watching out there, but it'll be a whole different thing for me. So,
yeah. Well, that'll be fun. Change is good, Guns. Change is good.
Yeah, I'm a little stressed, though, because as soon as we finish today, I have to literally tear down the computers and throw it into a van and get the kids in there. And there's a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff moving.
Fun.
Tonight.
Fun.
So.
Yeah. Well, and what's not helping is I'm seeing in the chat that our glitchy stream thing is going on again.
It's still going,
hopefully,
huh?
Yeah, hopefully the new office helps with that. I don't know what it could possibly be. We tried to track down the culprit when it comes to our streaming manager. I mean, it could be Gonz's just internet, where they just happen to choose the exact moment when we start the stream. But the weird thing is, you sound great to me, Gonz. It is something just with the live stream. We might have to take it up with our customer service reps over at Restream. We've got to escalate this situation all the way to the top. It's not looking good.
I'm wondering if I should lower the output resolution or something. Do you think that would
maybe
help?
give that a try. Give that a try, because this is going to be sad if we got another one that is just unwatchable. Now, the great news is if you are listening to the podcast version on the podcast feed, we sound great and things aren't glitchy at all. And it's a wonderful experience filled with love and gratitude. But now watching live, unfortunately, is being sabotaged by the gremlins once again. We'll click around. We'll change a couple of settings. Hopefully it improves for everybody. I don't know if it's too bad. Maybe we just restart the stream, not the show, but just the stream. I don't know. We will be doing tech support and I don't know, troubleshooting as we go, Gons. But I think it's time we get the show started. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. Now I'm troubleshooting, so it's multitasking here.
We're gonna have to show the world just how excellent you can be at multitasking. And other than that, I will distract them with a song and a dance. And a disclaimer.
Oh, disclaimer. Okay. That one.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up, YouTube.
That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. That's right. Keeping it clean over here, only exposing the muck and the mire of the elites, controlling and oppressing the message across the world, starting with our sketchy stream connection. But, Gons, let me give you a rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
The cyber pandemic strikes. A couple days ago, a video went out from Anonymous Sudan. Yes, the infamous hacker group, which is a conglomeration of decentralized groups of hackers. Hackers? Yeah, maybe. And they threatened a cyber attack, and booyah, right on schedule. We had massive cyber attacks across the world, including U.S. infrastructure, intelligence infrastructure, government stuff, all sorts of exciting cyber pandemic news. We'll be checking in with that. A little crypto update. BlackRock sending some pretty serious signals to the future of Bitcoin, as well as some updates on the SEC regulation. Then, of course, we got to check in on old hairy legs. Biden has got some messages for all of us that is, I think, very important for all of us to sort of laugh at. That's the big one. Flippy's coming in, and we've got an unholy alliance between the Queen Bee, the High Priestess Beyonce, and our beloved robotic arm Flippy. Can't wait to show you guys that. Then some updates on the COVID lab leak, the reveal deadline coming up quickly. And, if that's not scary enough, we've got another climate change related pandemic that we all need to just ignore. Don't worry about it. We've got a modern day Noah's Ark, a floating city, getting ready for the apocalypse. And we've got a nice Bill Gates blitz. Bringing back an old-timey clip where he drinks poo-poo water. And we will tell you what his plans are for the future. And at the end of the show, a transhuman update, synthetic human embryos. What does that mean? What does it mean all together? Well, we'll find out as we make it to the end of the show. So let's do it, Guns.
Okay. I don't think I can figure out this lag issue unless we completely shut down and I work on it for a few minutes. So it's really up to everybody out there.
I don't know. I could do a YouTube poll.
It's been a while
since I've done a glitchy YouTube poll.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I do not know. I mean, I think you can continue to click around, or I don't know if we can restart the whole thing. I think that's going to be kind of sad for us emotionally.
Yeah.
And maybe this is just a reward for the RSS feed listeners. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, I guess we just keep rolling and see.
Let's keep rolling and you keep clicking.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into it then here.
And you shall hear wars and rumors of wars.
Russia.
So this is a bit of a setup for the lead story here. And this is from the UK, Times UK. Dmitry Medvedev threatens to cut off the West's internet. And it says here, one of President Putin's closest allies has warned that Russia could destroy underwater cables that are vital for internet and other global communications in Europe and the United States. Dmitry Medvedev, the hardline former Russian president, said that Moscow had the, quote, moral right to target its enemy's communications infrastructure because of what he claimed was Western complicity in the blast that ruptured the Nord Stream 1 and 2 gas pipelines last year. So we have the story about Medvedev saying that, hey, there's a moral right for Putin to destroy some communications infrastructure in the West, specifically blow it up. So that's something to look for. A couple days later, which was yesterday, CNN, which is mirrored by Yahoo News here, exclusive U.S. government agencies hit in global cyber pandemic. No, it's a global cyber attack.
The COVID-19 crisis would be seen as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber pandemic.
This CNN article, just to be brief, it says several U.S. federal government agencies have been hit in a global cyber attack by Russian cyber criminals that exploits a vulnerability in widely used software, according to a top U.S. cybersecurity agency. So the app that in question here is called Move It. I like to move it. You know that song,
nice.
Basil?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. One of the, I like how they bring up these ransomware gangs. One of them they mentioned in the article is Clop. The ransomware gang allegedly responsible is known to demand multi-million-dollar ransoms, but no ransom demands have been made of federal agencies, a senior official told reporters. So it's probably not them. There's some Progress Software, that's what it's called, who was actually the ones hosting the ones who built the app and discovered the vulnerability.
Move It is a file transfer app. It's kind of like Dropbox.
Kind of like
or
Dropbox,
something like
right?
That. Yeah.
The Department of Energy is involved. The vulnerabilities. It says here the hacks have not had any significant impacts on federal civilian agencies yet. Sure, right? So it goes on here and talks about all these different problems with cybersecurity. But the article that I really want to bring you is from Forbes.com. The headline, Cyber Apocalypse 2023. Is the world heading for a catastrophic event? I'm pretty sure they just cloned my brain and just, come up with a title for like a catchy title that sounds like a Face Like the Sun video. Says here, as the 2023 annual meeting of the World Economic Forum wrapped up in Davos, Switzerland, and ended with a disturbing prediction from one of its leading voices, delivering a presentation on the 2023 Global Cybersecurity Outlook report. Forum Managing Director Jeremy Jurgens revealed that 93% of those surveyed believe that a catastrophic cybersecurity event is likely in the next 2 years. So sometime before 2025. It says that it's going to cost the world economy $10.5 trillion. And
it's a lot of trillions.
Well, that's what it is now, I guess, or by 2025, it's expected to be. It was $3 trillion in 2025. To put it in context, if it were a country, then cybercrime would have the third largest GDP behind the US and China. I mean, that's pretty gnarly to think that this network state of hackers, as far as GDP goes with their business, is number 3 worldwide.
Yeah, it seems like they're kind of putting a lot of things in that bucket, though, because there's cybercrime, like, I don't know, conning
phishing,
the elderly, or
there's different stuff,
romance phishing or whatever. And then it just feels totally separate from like Russian hackers taking down the FBI, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But I guess
it
doesn't matter. It's all the same.
Yeah. Key drivers of this growth are the ongoing digitization of society. Sounds truly like a Face Like the Sun video. Behavioral changes due to the global COVID-19 pandemic. Global or behavior changes. Political instability, such as the war in Ukraine and the global economic downturn. So it's all based on this World Economic Forum report, this whole thing, of course. It talks about artificial intelligence, and then it has this part here. According to the World Economic Forum report, one of the biggest threats, remember, this is in Forbes, the biggest threats is a mutating threat.
Ooh.
This could take the form of an AI-enabled virus that transforms as it infects various systems and organizations to evade defense systems or even detection. Scary AI.
Artificial intelligence.
It's a mutant AI virus.
I mean, the chances that that's already happening are extremely high. It's kind of hilarious to talk about it in like, this could happen in the future if these darn hackers ever catch wind of ChatGPT.
Right. Well, yeah. Also, this is the solution here, implying that you need lockdowns, you need antivirus mRNA jabs for businesses and institutions.
Right.
All the software.
Lockdowns.
All the software is going to need the mRNA jab now. So there you go. Quote, what we learned is that this is something that that's absolutely naive to think that any country can tackle this on its own. So the world has to work together to fight cybercrime. During the WEF presentation, Interpol Secretary General Jürgen Stock, his name is Jürgen Stock,
sounds legit,
about a 2022 operation by his organization against the West African cybercrime group Black Axe. Why is it going to be Black Axe if they're from West Africa? That's racist. That recently led to the arrest of 70 individuals. Groups like it are made up of professional hackers, fraudsters, scammers, and money launderers who have become increasingly proficient at credit card fraud, extortion, identity theft, and ransomware attacks. And they go into some ways to prevent, and it's really not that compelling. But it does speak to the greater theme here. I don't know what's going on with my connection. Something's up with my mic. But the greater theme of just having the Daniel chapter, I think 11, talking about the God of fortresses helping out the Antichrist. Just seems like encryption has something to do with the eschatological fortress. And so it's all very fascinating to me, all the cyber pandemic talk.
Yeah. No, it's interesting to watch the sort of, I don't know, it's almost sporadic in the news cycle when there's not, a dam blowing up or a threat from Russia or a Ukraine update. Pandemic just to fill the time, and like the article regarding the FBI, like apparently this Move It cloud software is extremely widely used in the American government. But, they're simultaneously like, this is huge. This was an incredible threat to our national security. But don't worry, nothing really happened. Or it's just we're just so good and so safe. So you don't need to worry about it, except for the only thing you need to know is it was the Russians.
Yeah.
The Russians. It's always the Russians.
It's always.
Which, did you see the anonymous video that was
I did see it
out there?
I saw it being circulated. I did not watch the contents.
Yeah, I mean, it's your classic anonymous video. You got a guy in the spooky mask with the spooky background talking about how they're going to take down the governments of the world. Mm-hmm. This was put out by Anonymous Sudan, which is a group of hackers based in Sudan. And it says, I'm over at trustwave.com, who kind of did a little bit more of a breakdown on the groups. It says it seemed quite likely that Anonymous Sudan is a KillNet project. KillNet is another group of hackers that allegedly, work on behalf of Russia or Russian interests. So even when they're from Sudan or Eastern Europe, they're working for the Russians. Everybody's working for the Russians, which is not quite blowing up the physical internet infrastructure. But you know what? We gotta be scared of the Russians on all sorts of different, vectors, whether it's
domains of war.
Yes, full spectrum dominance. But we'll see. I don't know. I am unaware of any super big, world shattering, consequences of this, but we'll keep an eye out. Certainly, we would not be the first to know if something was.
I was going to say, the world-changing consequence is the cyber pandemic. It's the whole thing going down.
It's the narrative.
So, but I don't know. I mean, this, there's some vulnerabilities or whatever. If we won't hear about what actually happened for a few weeks, probably. That's how it goes with the news cycle of this kind of thing. But in general, if you step back, it does seem like there is talking about the domains of war and having cyber being one of those domains. You can see the infrastructure economically being changed, and we might be witnessing an attempt at a Chinese takeover of America in the topic or the contents of crypto, if you will. So let's do that a little bit here.
Is this a crypto? Do I look like I know what a crypto is?
So we got this news here from Reuters, and the headline is BlackRock close to filing for a Bitcoin ETF. And they actually did do it, so they're beyond close. They've done it. BlackRock filed an application for a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund, ETF. Coindesk reported on Thursday, citing a person familiar with the matter. The world's largest asset manager will be using Coinbase Custody, an offline storage solution for digital assets, for the ETF. So for those of you who don't know, just to get you all up to speed, ETFs, electronically traded funds, it's basically, it's sort of like the official stock market version of something, a commodity, an asset, whatever it is. So that you don't...
It's a paper version.
It's a paper version so that you don't have to worry about actually holding on to gold or holding on to Bitcoin. You can just trade for the price. Wall Street. And there have been a bunch of companies in the last 10 years, a lot of them, well, all of them from America, who have tried to get a Bitcoin ETF passed through government, usually the SEC or other government agencies. and they've been rejected for about 10 years now. There are all these different groups, Grayscale, and I think I don't think Coinbase has done one, but there's been all these big hedge funds or whatever. So it's interesting that all of a sudden BlackRock comes out and they're like, yeah, we're gonna be the ones to bust out this ETF, and I would be very surprised if they get rejected. Wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, it is interesting because you got to consider everything else BlackRock is involved in, namely the having all the contracts for rebuilding Ukraine after it's been rebelized.
Yeah, and they have assets in China too. They own a bunch of assets in China. Yeah. So there's that.
So they're much more well connected. And if you just to, I don't know, pontificate on the idea of why everybody else might be getting blocked from starting a Bitcoin ETF, maybe because, BlackRock wanted it just for themselves. I mean, they really do have that level of economic power and influence that, it will be surprising if they get denied, but who knows?
Well, if they do get denied, I would imagine we start seeing some changes in some government agencies and leadership.
Right.
They have BlackRock has enough influence and assets to force musical chairs on anybody. But the one thing interesting is that well, there's a few things, but let me just continue on here because there's more layers to this to look at. Because in the crypto, we don't specifically always do crypto news, but it is starting to become an issue in public discourse, and everyone's talking about it. And especially with all the big crashes from last year, people are at least aware of it. And we've gotten messages from people saying like, "Hey, can you talk a little bit more about crypto, but maybe explain some things because people are new to the topic and whatnot." So the BlackRock angle. What I was going to mention was I've seen some theories out there that what BlackRock wants to do is take Bitcoin to $1 million, right? So people like you and me, Basil, will sell our Bitcoin because it's like, oh, finally $1 million. Let's sell our Bitcoin. And then what they do is they hyperinflate the rest of the dollars. And so $1 million becomes enough to maybe, I don't know, a few nice meals, and that's it. Meanwhile, BlackRock has everybody's Bitcoin and they have total control. That's a theory of how they can manipulate the markets into eventually owning all the Bitcoin and thus controlling the network and yada, yada, yada. So something to consider. But moving on, any thoughts on that, or you just move on?
No, makes sense to me.
Yahoo Finance, mirroring Coindesk, crypto lobbyists ask SEC for info on Prometheum, the mysterious regulated crypto firm. Ooh, Prometheum.
The light bringer.
Blockchain Association lawyer Marissa Koppel announced this morning that the trade group has filed a Freedom of Information Act request with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, seeking records relevant to Prometheum, a crypto broker. Prometheum co-CEO and founder Aaron Kaplan spoke before the House Financial Service Committee on Tuesday, broadly in support of the Gary Gensler SEC's position on crypto regulation. So when you were gone, Basil, I did touch on some of this a little bit. Because Gary Gensler at the SEC, there's video footage of him from 2018 saying how Algorand, this crypto project, is not a security. And then he filed and basically declared Algorand to be a security a couple weeks ago, and a bunch of other crypto projects as securities. And he's been, kind of trying to make a mess of the crypto industry in America. And so one of the issues has been from companies like Coinbase, which is an American company, is that they've been trying to get clarity for like 10 years. They're like, hey, SEC, let's work together. Let's have some clarity on what you want us to do. How do you want us to register and do business and so forth? And the SEC never gave clear direction to any of these companies, any American company anyway. And there's lots of video footage to prove that. But all of a sudden, this company comes out of nowhere, Prometheum. They've been around for 6 years. They don't have a product. They got like a $50 million thing a few years ago. And if you look into Prometheum, there's an article from Bloomberg here. It's dated January 27th, 2022. And it says here, an early Ethereum backer is targeting Asia's biggest crypto venture fund. And this group is called Wang Zhang. Wang Zhang. So, and it tells a story in a couple sentences here. In 2015, as Vitalik Buterin, he's the founder of Ethereum. He's a Russian, by the way, or part Russian. In 2015, as Vitalik Buterin was scrambling to raise money for a blockchain he'd created called Ethereum, he traveled to Shanghai to meet a group of Chinese crypto enthusiasts. Among them was Deng Chao, then an investment manager for the Chinese car-to-energy conglomerate, Wang Zhang Group. Okay, so early on, Vitalik Buterin, 2015, got funding from this Wang Zhang Group. If you look at Wang Zhang Corporation on Wikipedia, they're like multinational conglomerate. They're one of the biggest automotive components company out in China. But then there was this thing that popped up. People are doing all this research and putting it together. December 19th, 2018, Global Newswire, Prometheum raises $12 million from Hashkey Digital Asset Group. Hashkey, which is a subset of Wang Zhang, signs strategic partnership with Wang Zhang Blockchain Labs. So again, back in 2018, Prometheum signed a deal with Wang Zhang. And now, and you can see I have the links for everything here. It's the actual SEC document stating that Wang Zhang and Prometheum will be partnering to produce this product of, official tradable securities in America or whatever, which is, again, all tied to this Chinese multinational conglomerate. And now you have the Bank of China issuing securities on Ethereum. This was announced a couple days ago. And the American crypto industry is being choked out in replaced basically by this Chinese influenced and compromised leadership of our American government. It's quite crazy if you think about what's happening like right in front of us.
You know what's also interesting about Prometheum? I'm seeing here that they're partnered with Anchorage Digital, and key Anchorage Digital investors are A16Z, Apollo, BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, Kraken, and PayPal.
There you go.
So, yeah, partnered with the Chinese. You have Prometheum, who is now partnered with Anchorage Digital, being funded by BlackRock, the same company who's been buying a lot of Bitcoin lately. Seems like maybe they know something that we don't. Well, now we do know, actually. So it seems like they are preparing for some big news as far as the role of Bitcoin in sort of the global economy and its ability to be harnessed and regulated by the government. And used for, rebuilding Ukraine, Gons. That's what this is all about. Okay?
So
it's
China's
to protect democracy.
Ukraine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They got a pretty good deal. Yeah. China is, kind of aligned with Russia on the destruction of Ukraine. Well, I guess, half of the destruction of Ukraine, but also aligned with the people who are, have the contract to rebuild Ukraine. So it's a win-win for China.
Yeah. Well,
fun.
We got crying children. We got cameras freezing up here. The disaster is starting, folks.
Yeah, no, the stream is a total mess. We have no idea why.
You know what? It looks like there was an update on Streamlabs. And it must be something there because it is just
gotta be
whacked. I'm seeing the problems here right in front of me.
Yep. Well, hopefully when we get set up in your next office, we have a chance to work through some of these problems before the next show. That would be a wonderful way to start the week next week.
Yeah. All right.
Well, let's to cheer us up. Let's get into some Joe Biden news.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Hairy COVID.
Hairy COVID. Shall we hear from Joe Biden about some infrastructure plans?
Let's do it.
But we're going to win, and we're going to help. We have plans to build a railroad from the Pacific all the way across the Indian Ocean. We have plans to build in Angola, one of the largest solar plants in the world. I could go on, but I'm not. I'm going off script. I'm going to get in trouble.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. A couple interesting things there. Building a railroad from the Pacific to the Indian Ocean?
Basil, you know how the Jerusalem Post was doing these measurements of crazy, weird animals and whatnot for things?
Yes,
I have a quiz.
33 armadillos and
yes,
for the size of asteroids.
Yes, I have a question for you. How many Biden heads from the Pacific coast of America to the coast of India? How long this?
I would say it's probably just one because it's happening in his head.
Well, based on my map here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 Biden heads to connect.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jerusalem
I don't know
Post.
What map you're looking at, but
Jerusalem
that makes sense.
Post. This is the map I made. Jerusalem Post. You can put it in the books. There's 6 Biden heads. Each Biden head does represent 6 billion Biden heads, though. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever.
That's great.
Do the math. Do the math.
Now, he also said something interesting in there, which is they're building a power plant in Angola?
Solar plant? Yeah, solar plant in Angola.
Solar plant in Angola. Okay, so we are just sort of revealing some globalist sort of green energy agendas from the podium there.
Oops.
He's going to get... Oh, look at this. I type in Angola into search, and the very first suggestion is Angola solar plant. So
yeah, the Exim Bank. Looks like there's some Exim Bank stuff going on there.
What do you know about Angola?
It's in Africa.
Okay. It's good enough for me.
It's not as much as I know.
Makes a lot of sense.
Their Ministry of Energy and Water has secured $900 million in loan from the Export-Import Bank of the United States. I wonder if that's Joe money.
Yeah, it sounds like it is.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. Well, keep your mouth shut. You're giving away the grand plan.
Yes. What's the problem over here?
We've got babies in the studio. Okay. It's part of the fun. Babies in the studio. Okay.
Well, there's more Joe. You want more Joe?
Yeah. This clip we mentioned last episode, but we need to bring the actual clip.
As Commander-in-Chief, I was proud to have ended the ban on transgender Americans.
Lifting the ban on transgender Americans. Thanks, Joe.
I know it's coming, and it still makes me laugh.
Yeah.
I will miss Joe a little bit.
It's a lot of fun. He's a lot of fun. I mean, we really don't even have a story here. We're just having fun playing Joe clips.
Joe bumpers.
Speaking of which, he just dropped another gem today.
Oh,
I sent you the link in the Skype there. Maybe we can set that one up. This is a tweet that I grabbed from. Who did I grab this from? I've completely lost it, but Gons will be able to pick it back
Research.
Up.
It's a Republican
RNC
National.
Research.
Yeah, of course.
There we go.
Out.
But they went ahead and posted this nice little clip.
Let's see. Well, it's still loading on my end.
Oh, no.
Here we go.
The work we do for 11 seconds of content on this show is really incredible. It doesn't have to be this difficult, everybody, but it just is on Canary Cry. It's one of our specialties is sort of working through debilitating restrictions of technology live on air while babies scream in the background.
You ready?
Ready, Freddie.
He's still muted. Hold on. Wait, he shouldn't be.
No.
Why does it? Oh, Twitter video player, stop remuting after I hit play.
All right. God save the Queen, man.
What?
Then he wanders off in one direction. Somebody starts chasing him because he's moving in the wrong direction. I love how every time he gets on stage, somebody has to go get him. Like you can't give him any instructions. It just goes in one ear.
He really is like a child. My son someone's got to be all over him all the time. Otherwise.
So this was the end of a speech in Connecticut, where he ended his speech with "God save the Queen, man," and sort of wandered off. I mean, it's a little awkward because, well, the queen is dead. Or maybe he was, a lot of people are postulating he was just calling King Charles the Queen Man.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe
save the Queen Man.
Maybe his mind is already in the post-physical world there, and he sees the queen there.
That could be it. Yes,
his body's just
like
operating.
like in Star Wars, the ghost of the queen is like giving him wisdom. Perhaps maybe he's trying to make up for the transgender remark. It's like, God save the queen, something like that, Anyways, what else we got on Biden?
Well, it looks like I'm frozen on the screen, so whatever look I made, there I am.
It's been happening all show. Don't worry. This is an interesting story. This is kind of a debunker bunker a little bit. I'm sure we don't have that ready. But just in case anybody saw this floating around the internet, there's a little update. Yeah.
This is coming. Well, actually, we have the SeanHannity.com archived version of this because it's gone. It's been taken down. And yesterday, the headline was, Bombshell, Burisma employee, Biden bribery scheme whistleblower found dead, report. Ooh, somebody died. And it's very compelling, according to multiple online reports. A Burisma whistleblower, wife of former Burisma owner Mykola Lizin, who died under mysterious circumstances years ago, has been found dead. From the peoplesvoice.tv, the Burisma whistleblower has been identified as the wife of the former Burisma owner Mykola Lizin, who also died in suspicious circumstances during the years of the Obama administration when Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter were active in Ukraine. And then former Mayor Giuliani discussed the fate of the now deceased whistleblower during an interview on Newsmax's Saturday Report with Rita Cosby. Giuliani said he gave the DOJ, quote, one witness who is a woman who is the chief accountant at this crooked company, Burisma. She was the wife of the former owner who died under suspicious circumstances, and now she was willing to give up all of the offshore bank accounts, including the Bidens, and she supervised the transfers of a lot more cash to the Bidens and other crooked politicians for Burisma, and now she's dead. And apparently, nobody could verify this story, and Sean Hannity took it down. So,
yeah, well, it's interesting because Hannity is a very special type of character because at first glance you would think he's a bit like a Tucker type,
right?
But really, the reason Hannity is allowed to do what he does is because he's an establishment guy. No matter what he's talking about, he's playing his role sort of in the sort of blatant display of establishment support, and sort of rarely gets mixed up in like needing to cover up accidental sort of mishaps when it comes to any sort of disinfo, misinfo, malinformation that would threaten the Republican establishment, but really our sort of uniparty establishment here in America. Yeah. And so I guess this kind of all goes back to Giuliani just kind of running his mouth on a podcast. Oh no, this is at Newsmax.
Newsmax. So, a little more official than podcast.
Not a great look, but that's what Hannity gets. See, that's what I think this is. Hannity, he's allowed to kind of stay in the establishment because he's, an establishment supporter. No matter what he does, he never attacks the established order like Tucker does. And I think for Hannity to be spreading Newsmax stuff is strictly against his modus operandi. He's supposed to ignore Newsmax. He can't be giving any credibility to Newsmax, which is a direct competitor to what Hannity's got going on. So I think that's a part of it. Also, I don't know whether this is true or not. I would have no way of knowing, but it could also just be Giuliani sort of playing his role in sort of the Q-averse or something.
Yeah, I was going to say that whoever's in the Hannity research team maybe got caught up on a Q drop or something and
forum something. Yeah, you also can't rule out psyop, because there is a lot of a lot of really legit stuff coming out, even in the FBI's investigation and other investigations regarding Burisma and the Bidens. There's a lot of progress going on with that.
You're right. And if this is true, it would be pretty catastrophic to, well, maybe not, but at the very least, it would draw a lot more attention to the entire Burisma situation, because it would kind of be the Clinton body count thing for Biden. Yeah, and people start counting bodies.
Right. But I could also see it as like purposeful disinformation to discredit the whole Burisma thing. Right. So who knows what it is, but it did sort of make some waves on the internet there. But I don't know if anybody has any additional information, let us know. But it's so easy to get caught up in the kind of the Clinton body count type of content. It's like, oh yeah, this person you've never heard of before, who apparently was super important, just died
about
at a very
to
convenient
drop
time.
All the secret information. She was supervising the handoff, and then they took her out.
Yeah. Really? And you've never heard of her before. You've never heard this before. It's just all a nice, neat, self-contained theory that has no way of backing it up or no way of checking its legitimacy, except for it comes from the mouth of Giuliani.
Well, it proves that Joe Biden is the devil.
Okay, sure.
You don't think so?
Well, with that, Guns, it is Friday.
It's Friday.
Keep playing with the Friday thing.
What y'all learn today?
Cause it's Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit.
Are you not entertained?
It's Friday. It's Friday.
Woo! It's Friday, end of the week here. How you feeling, Guns?
I'm a little bittersweet. It's my mind is thinking logistically about how I'm going to tear all this down and put it in the car and doing all that.
Moving office, you mean?
Yeah, moving office. But also, I'm not on the screen anymore because as I was trying to fix things, I just,
it's
OBS
a mess.
Stopped working. So
I will say this: we need to get our act together technologically here. We need to figure out exactly what these problems are so we can sort of fix it. I mean, we should be increasing the quality every chance we get, and somehow it just sort of seems to disintegrate through our fingers as we get going. But you know what? That's what it means to not be corporately funded. We had corporate funding, Guns. We could have the nicest, prettiest show in the world.
You know what's crazy? The computer that I'm using for this show, the main computer. We do have some side computers that assist. The main computer is nearly 10 years old.
Yeah, I mean, that might be the solution right there. We might need to look into getting you a new computer.
Yeah, I don't want that. That's a very expensive expense.
Well, you know what else is expensive, Gons? The show not working. That's more expensive than any computer we could purchase you. So I think we need to start looking into that. That's what we're going to do. We owe the producers.
Yeah, that's true.
A show that actually works. So we're going to do that. We're going to start looking into new computers. Guns, if you're moving office, we might as well have a fresh start on a new computer that actually works.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Look, I know you're in an emotional place right now. You're going to be moving house. You're moving office. You're in the twilight moments of an era. But I'm here to carry you through and look into the future. Look to the future where things are going to be better. Speaking of things are going to be better,
it's dark.
I was not better after last show. Granted, last show, my first show back after my health issues, Recovery was going well. I thought that doing the show would have no consequences. That ended up not being the case. I don't know what it was. Maybe I did too much talking. Maybe I talked too enthusiastically. But pretty much every moment of every hour since last episode, it feels like I have a rock stuck under my rib cage, just constantly stabbing me. And it's very painful. I pretty much just spent all yesterday laying in bed because just moving made it worse and worse. So everybody keep me in prayer, please. The recovery is still ongoing. It's not finished.
I just pictured the sink scorpion just kind of hanging out by your rib and just just constantly jabbing you.
Yeah, kind of felt like that. It was not great. So I'm
making of the sink scorpion,
making some sort of attempt here to not speak so long or so often, or kind of toning down the use of my diaphragm, I think is kind of the case there. So there you go. There's a little update on my physical and mental well-being. But with that, let's thank some producers, or some executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right, folks. We're on the value for value model, which means we take no corporate money whatsoever. Can you tell? Us either. But instead of taking corporate or cartel, what was the other one?
Communist.
None of that. No corporate, communist, or cartel money. We're entirely funded by listeners who get value from the show. If you receive value, you have the opportunity to put some value back in. And it really is a paradigm shift. We're not here because we have the blessing of any sort of organization. We are only here because of the active, ongoing participation of producers, which are people who get value from the show and put value back in. And as of the start of the show, Gons, unfortunately, we had no executive producers. By the way, produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. It's not all about money, but those who come in with $100 or more for any episode, they are executive producers. We appreciate them very much, and they go a long way to keeping us alive. But coming in just now during the show, we have an executive producer, Anonymous.
Oh, Anonymous.
Yeah.
Maybe Anonymous heard us talking about their latest anonymous message from Sudan.
Anonymous Sudan, perhaps. Who knows? Thank you very much, executive producer Anonymous. Anonymous executive producer came in with $133.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's
so it's
Illuminatus. It's true.
Anonymous Illuminatus.
Anonymous Illuminatus. Oh yeah.
Illuminatus.
There you go.
There we go. And a little note came in as well. It says, Jesus Christ is Lord. God bless.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Anonymous. We appreciate that. And that's it for executive producers right now. But remember, this is not too late. It's never too late to produce the show. You can go to canarycry.support if you want to do that. But while I'm at it, Gons, I do want to thank some supply droppers, or a supply dropper.
Before we do, let's properly thank Anonymous Illuminatus.
Where'd you find this?
Canarycry.support.
Canarycry.support.
And what were you doing? Supply drop?
Drop for a second.
Huh? What?
Supply drop.
Supply drop.
That's right. CanaryCrySupplyDrop.com. This is a program we started last year that has done wonders for keeping us alive through the economic turmoil of the past couple of years. Monthly sustaining producerships really have gone a long way to giving us some security and able to continue the show. We love our episode-to-episode producers, but the monthly producers, especially the supply droppers who come in and support the show for $33.33 a month, sticking it to the man there. we really appreciate it. And in return, they receive free gifts, which is a bunch of Canary Cry gear. Sometimes it's survival gear. Sometimes it's kitchen gear. Sometimes it's gardening equipment. Sometimes it's digital media. It's awesome. And they receive it for free every quarter. We send out a big old package straight to your house. And you can go to canarycrysupply.com. Today is the deadline. Midnight tonight. That is what we are setting. Midnight tonight on the 16th. Sign up before midnight, and you will be in on the first quarter shipment that will be sending out. Well, it's the second quarter shipment, but the first shipment that will be receiving the Age of Deceit documentary series in hard copy DVDs sent directly to your door. This is Gonza's infamous or famous, depending on which side you're on, documentary that started it all 11 years ago now, or 12 almost. And we've got a new supply dropper who came in before the show. I want to thank them now. Everybody, a rousing round of applause for some new supply dropper, Sophia O.
Sophia. Oh, good thing it's not Sophia the robot.
The robot, well, who knows? Maybe it is. We don't know. We just don't know. But Sophia is supporting the show. We appreciate it, and they will be receiving their Age of Deceit. Now, it's not just the Age of Deceit DVDs. We've also, coming in this next shipment, we have an album, a musical album from one of our producers, which is excellent. You're going to love that. I don't have the full list of stuff right in front of me. Oh, Canary Cry Coffee Club starts this quarter. We've got Canary Cry Coffee, a producer of the show, is a coffee roaster. We've got our very own special coffee roast that is going to be going out in the supply drop. That's very exciting, so you can appreciate that. And there's also other stuff. It's maybe one of our most robust supply drop packages going out, and you got to sign up before midnight tonight. So go to canarycrysupply.com.
Waiting for supply drop.
That's right. Okay, I think that's all I have for now. Or do we have anything else before we continue with the show? Nope, that's it. We're going, baby.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right. It's time for the Flippy update. Flippy, it's a mini podcast inside of this podcast. The Flippy update is about Flippy, who is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and now there's nothing we can do about it. Flippy, Gons. Oh, he's gone big time. This was really a surprising one. Well, not surprising, but serious business for those who follow Flippy. Now, the Flippy update, as you know, we're not just telling you about new robots. We're also talking about the social engineering, the cultural engineering, perhaps even the occult engineering of society revolving around our good friend Flippy. Today's Flippy update is coming from Insider, and which is a website that is now loading on my browser. Here's the headline. Beyonce's Renaissance World Tour robot arms are estimated to cost $100,000 each, and they could be dangerous to perform with, according to an expert. Dun, dun,
Were you asked about this?
I was not consulted, Gons.
They consulted an expert. I would expect that your name would at least pop up on the Rolodex.
I am the expert. They should be consulting. Not a single soul on this planet has as much robotic arm information and insight as I do. And yet I am not able to monetize that insight into consulting for Beyonce's Renaissance World Tour. It's just my cross to bear, folks. Okay, so we all know Beyonce, sort of occult high priestess, Illuminati puppeteer or puppet, who knows, maybe both. The wife of Jay-Z, also Illuminati high priest. They've worked this into their brand, and it's no surprise, and they're not hiding it. Well, the article reads like this: Beyonce has ridden a diamond unicorn, dressed as a bee, and been hoisted into the sky on her Renaissance World Tour, which is now nearing the end of its European leg. The most memorable stunts she's performed at her shows, however, have been with the help of 2 giant robotic arms. During the spoken word intro of Cozy, a pair of robot arms appear on stage, each holding a metal square frame throughout the song. Beyonce then poses within the frames, which move around her body, giving the impression of a moving portrait. We've got some video here we can show you, and viewers through the stuttering of the live stream will see, well, exactly what I just explained. It's Beyonce in some shiny robot outfit. One of her arms is more of a gunmetal gray color. The other is silver, I think having to do with the robotic arms by her sides. On either side of her, 2 giant, silvery, flashy Flippy arms. And on the end of these Flippy arms are sort of metal frames, metal squares. And now we can't show a wide shot of this performance because flashing in lasers behind her is language that is not fit. It's not fit for public broadcast at all, much less this podcast. The words that are being projected behind her are, I mean, they're just the most vulgar words. You're not allowed to say them on television. Anyway, so we'll show the close-up here.
The Queen Beyonce is allowed to say them and flash them in large lasers at her show, though.
Apparently. And as she does this little dance at the start of the song, the robotic arms are waving around these frames, sort of putting them in front of her, around her. She's doing a little dance, stuff like that. So the robotic arms are not just a part of the act. They sort of are the act. They're the primary mechanism through which she is casting whatever particular spell we are looking at here. Now, the robotic arms showed up later as well in a song called Church Girl. The robot arms scan the singer's white cape with ultraviolet light that causes a stained glass print to appear. And finally, during her performance of Heated, the arms cool Bay down by waving 2 large fans. So the robotic arms, Flippy, is sort of a centerpiece of this Renaissance tour. Now, to break it down, of course, in the context of the Flippy update, we're talking about the robotic Renaissance. She can't be doing her act without the robots assisting her. The robotic frames in the Cozy song, framing her, again, hearkening to the Flippy update concept of human beings having themselves be reframed in the context of their superiors, who are robots. The robot arms are the ones who are reframing the Queen Bee, our, of course, Illuminati occult high priestess. And it's very flashy. People are losing their minds. They're loving it. And I think this might be the #1 most high-profile use in public of robotic arms. I mean, we talk about robotic arms, Flippy, every week, 3 times a week, and showing up all over the place, usually, I don't know, in all sorts of different contexts, in space, in restaurants, on TV, in movies. But I think, considering the sort of unimaginable attention-grabbing power held by Beyonce, I think we are witnessing the most effective social engineering of the robot arm message, making it into the worldwide sort of consciousness. This is a Beyonce thing compared to any other outlet, is pretty much the number one use of, sort of magical principles, occult principles, into training public consciousness.
I was going to say, this is like the official ritual, like magic ritual to get everybody introduced to the robot arms as some kind of servant class, to serve the gods of the world,
Yeah, I think that is one interesting way to describe it. I mean, the act where she is literally being framed by the robots, like they are the mechanism by which
people
Beyonce is being portrayed or being presented. She is something new now that the robots are the ones who are presenting her or framing her existence, right?
Putting her in context.
Yeah, so very powerful as far as the sort of occult practitioners are concerned. I would say very powerful even on a secular social engineering sort of context, and very powerful for our good buddy Flippy, who has, I think, now been ushered in to the ruling class thanks to Beyonce.
Do you think Beyonce found out about Flippy when she went to go get like a burger? And was like, "Who's that back there?"
I'm gonna say I think somebody on her team listens to the show. That's what I'll say.
We need
for
the behind
purpose.
the music story, how Flippy made it. I guess we'll have to wait for the fall first. We're gonna have cracked out Flippy.
This is my tech guy. His name's Poindexter. He works on my tech team, and he listens to a weird podcast called Canary Cry News Talk, and they're obsessed with Flippy arms, and he suggested that I use big, silvery, sort of divine-looking robotic arms to reframe my image in front of the world, and I thought, you know what? As the Illuminati occult high priestess, I think this is a great way to usher in the new age, and brainwash all of my adoring fans into allowing robots into their lives, into their hearts, and ultimately into their very souls. Yeah. I think it went something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's Beyonce's voice, but sure. Yeah, we'll reframe it.
Might be.
Reframe it in her voice.
Yeah, exactly. So there's your Flippy update for the day, folks.
All right. Good stuff. Well, you know what it is? This is Beast Fashion.
Most modeling is kind of acting like a beast, but making it fashion. Beast. But then make it fashion.
Can't deny it. All right. What are we doing now? A little COVID? Little COVID?
Yep. A pandemic special. COVID-19. COVID-19. COVID-19.
COVID-19.
Yes. COVID-19. 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 COVID-19.
Everybody said coronavirus. It's from the telegraph.co.uk. The headline, 3 things to watch as U.S. intelligence prepares for COVID lab leak reveal. Dun, 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 dun. Remember Joe was like, I'm going to give you 90 days. 90 days. No later than Sunday, America's Director of National Intelligence must make public all information relating to the origins of COVID-19. It's showtime, and both lab leak enthusiasts and those who believe in natural origins, the Zoonati, are nervous. The Zoonati, Basil, are the zoo people, the zoo theory people?
So this is a very strange article. You'll see why in a second. But they call it, much like Flat Earth, there's the globe heads or the globers or something. And then globe tards, right? And then Flat Earthers. Somebody is framing this as in a similar way because they have the lab leakers, who are people who believe in the lab leak. But then the zoonotic origin people get like this cute nickname, the Zoonatis. It's just very.
They accurately sort of tap into the Illuminatus nature of the folks who really pushed that narrative or something.
It's just very strange. Yeah, it does have sort of like Illuminati, Zoanati. You know, you could pronounce it Zoanati because it's technically the Zoa. What do they call it? Zoonotic transmission or something. I forget.
Transition. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not
warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Right. So yeah, that's kind of the first thing is they create this weird nickname for the zoonotic origin people, which again, remember, that is the establishment line, or at least in the past.
Yeah, it was the story that everyone was fed during the lockdowns and everything, when there was no questioning allowed during lockdowns. Of course, everything changed afterwards. But okay. So a couple things, and then we'll get into the list here. So again, we're waiting for the information to be released no later than Sunday. So maybe it's already out. I haven't checked. By the time the deadline is reached, it will have been 1,265 days since news of a mystery pneumonia first emerged from Wuhan. And for much of that time, a small group of U.S. intelligence officials have anonymously been briefing that the virus came from a lab. So the 1,265 days is interesting because in the Bible, there's the 1,260 days, the 3.5 years that the Antichrist reigns, and things like that. So the 42 months. So if you think about when we first heard about the mystery pneumonia to now, it's about the length of time that the beast will rule and like conquer saints and do all that. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, just in terms of a timeline of biblical things. That's just one of those examples. So it kind of got me for a moment. I was like, 1,265 as opposed to 1,260, which is mentioned in the scriptures in Daniel and Revelation.
So close.
Yeah, so just an interesting thing there. And then we'll just skip down to the list itself. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, so the way that they present this information is very interesting. It's very unique in that they will show they'll bring up a piece of text from what I believe was the bill or the law that is to require them to give this information, and then they'll give the sort of insight on what that means, and then they give the lab leakers version of what the lab leakers stand to gain from the divulging of the information. And then they have the Zoonati, and the Zoonati's benefit that they stand to gain. And you'll start to notice a big difference between the two.
It feels like this is what the New World Order Fantasy League part of this should be, because
a little bit.
If you haven't been keeping track, Sunday deadline for classified information to come out. Are you putting your money on the Zoonatis or the lab leakers?
Yeah, or if you didn't have an opinion before, or you weren't following, this whole process, or if you didn't really care enough or whatever, you didn't know what was going on, you can read this and kind of pick a side.
Right.
Like it's giving you
laying
the
out
stats.
the teams and
yeah, right.
All right, so here we go.
It kind of gives you an opportunity to see, what are you? Are you a lab leaker or a Zoonati?
That's what they should have titled the article if they really wanted clicks. Okay, so the first one here. Not later than 90 days after the date of the enactment of this act, the Director of National Intelligence shall declassify any and all information relating to potential links between the Wuhan Institute of Virology and the origin of the coronavirus disease, 2019, COVID-19, including, number one, activities performed by the Wuhan Institute of Virology with or on behalf of the People's Liberation Army, end quote. Issue. The background briefings have alleged that the Chinese People's Liberation Army was involved with the Wuhan Institute of Virology in creating a virus that leaked. As the Sunday Times reported, U.S. intelligence sources believe the lab has engaged in, quote, secret projects on behalf of the Chinese military since at least 2017, end quote. So lab leakers rightly say this would be explosive if proven. In addition to the anonymous briefings, they point to already leaked but heavily redacted U.S. cables, seemingly compiled by U.S. analysts in Taiwan. These make mention of, quote, cyber evidence of Chinese military involvement and, quote, shadow labs at the WIV. They also suggest Chinese central government in Beijing knew of the outbreak of COVID-19, quote, earlier than they admit, end quote. The trouble with the cables is that they are so heavily redacted that only a few words and phrases are visible. Lab leakers will be hoping the full text bangs this virtual nail home. Okay, so you have your lab leakers with a pretty cohesive outline as to what they were looking for. But on the other side,
the military is involved. This is a big deal. It's a national security issue. It's pretty straightforward.
The Zunatis say military links should not come as a surprise, given there is hardly a high security lab anywhere in the world, including Porton Down in England, where the military do not have some involvement. They suspect the anonymous briefers have been, quote, happily blurring shades of gray, end quote, in this respect, and hope the unredacted evidence will bear this out.
Okay, so the Zunati, the people who believe in that it came from a pangolin or something, they're saying, of course the military is involved. Of course the Chinese military was involved in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. That's nothing new. And it's like, oh, that does not answer what it means to, like, they're saying it's they don't even say we don't care that the Chinese military was involved in possibly creating a worldwide pandemic. They're just like saying it's a non-issue. Of course they were involved. What's your point? That's a very cool stance to have. Zunati is a very cool way to think about it.
Anytime you are in a losing argument, it turns into more of an ad hominem. You're kind of attacking the messenger, not the mess. You're not like focused on the issue at hand. And this is kind of that, where it's like they're blurring shades of gray, and it's like, isn't that what you're doing with this answer? You're not really answering the question. You're kind of blurring shades of gray happily.
Yeah, we don't care that the Chinese military was involved in creating COVID. Possibly, we'll see. You're dumb for making it a big deal. Of course they were.
All right, number 2, declassify any intelligence which shows, quote, coronavirus research or other related activities performed at the Wuhan Institute of Virology prior to the outbreak of COVID-19, end quote. Issue, the background briefing would suggest there is intelligence to show scientists at the WIV were conducting undeclared, quote, gain-of-function research in 2019 that sought to combine different coronaviruses and make them more infectious in humans. According to the Sunday Times, U.S. spies also say there is evidence the lab was working on a vaccine before the pandemic started. Look at that. Ooh. Working on a vaccine before the pandemic started. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Lab leakers will alight on any hard evidence of any undeclared work on coronavirus in China as a smoking gun. Some hypothesize that WIV scientists working hand in hand with the military created a mutant virus as part of a covert weapons program, which was highly effective at infecting people. That virus, now known as SARS-CoV-2, was then accidentally leaked and started spreading in Wuhan in the autumn of 2019, they say. I don't know that that's exactly what they say, but okay, that's all right, sure. I mean, that's kind of like the Fauci version of the lab leak, where it's like, we may have been working on it, but it may have leaked from the lab. Then it's a lab leak, but it's not a lab leak. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Again, they're just kind of being like, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, it's for the lab leakers too. It's weird. Like I think most lab leakers would say, yeah, they made it in a lab, and even the leak might be on purpose. You know, it's not so much an accident. But anyway,
right.
Let's go the other side.
I would say the lab leakers are kind of split on that. Could go either way.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They've assigned the narrative for the lab leakers, which is the Fauci, more of the Fauci version. So, okay, The Zunati remains skeptical. They say a wrap-up of all the work the WIV conducted on coronaviruses, including a list of viruses, was submitted to Nature, that's Nature magazine, or the the publication, in October 2019, and that there was nothing unusual about the research. Further, they say nothing, quote, obviously nefarious or weird happened during the submission and review process, which ran to August 2020 to suggest the Chinese were hiding secret projects. Others say that,
they're just saying this is what they say.
Yeah.
It's not, and what they say could be entirely debunked by the declassification of this information. It's like it's not what they have at stake is their entire argument can be lost. Whereas with the lab leakers, it's almost entirely opposite because we know exactly how this is going to come out.
Yeah. Others say that even if declassification were to prove that WIV scientists were conducting dangerous undeclared research, this would not explain the outbreak itself. Quote, I'd be surprised if it was all true, but let's pretend that it is. I think it's still going to be really complicated trying to understand how that fits into this body of evidence that does point towards zoonic origin, argues Dr. Angela Rasmussen, virologist at the Vaccine and Infectious Disease Organization at the University of Saskatchewan in Canada.
Yeah. So again, they're saying, if the report shows that they were sort of deviously creating a bioweapon, it would be hard to even prove how it leaked from the lab, so it doesn't matter.
All of these kind of overlap a little bit too, I'm noticing. Number 3 here, declassify any intelligence which shows, quote, research that the Wuhan Institute of Virology, researchers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology who fell ill in autumn 2019, including for any such researcher, the researcher's names, their symptoms, the date of the onset of the researcher's symptoms, etc. So anything that's related to that. Issue, reports have long persisted that a group of scientists at the Wuhan lab fell with coronavirus-like symptoms and were hospitalized more than a month before the virus started to spread widely throughout Wuhan. The implication being they had become infected through a lab accident. Mm-hmm. Lab leakers point to 3 scientists from the WIV who they say U.S. intelligence believe fell ill and were hospitalized in October or November of 2019. They are Yu Ping, Ben Hu, and Yan Zhu, all of whom worked at the lab at the time. If U.S. intelligence proves these researchers were struck down by a COVID-like disease and hospitalized in the October-November period, it would provide compelling evidence of a lab accident, the leakers say. And I feel like that's kind of just more logical, but okay. Let's see the counter argument.
Also, calling them the leakers as if people who believe in the lab leak are the leakers themselves.
Yeah. The Zunati don't dispute that the trio worked at the lab, but say they don't believe they fell ill or were hospitalized. Ooh.
Okay, so just denying reality.
Yeah, well, that's what we'll find out, I guess, with the release. I mean, maybe it's
right.
Maybe they release it and it's like, they got a cough, but they didn't get hospitalized. They say they know this because, among other things, they were working with them over the period in question and have talked to them since. So their argument is, you don't know you and Ben and Han.
We know them personally.
We know them and we talked to them. And they're fine.
We asked them, and they said, no, we didn't leak the virus that started a worldwide pandemic, whether on accident or on purpose. No. And we take them at their word.
Yeah, they're saying, we didn't leak it. We purposefully distributed it through scientists at the lab. Dr. Danielle Anderson, an Australian scientist, was on secondment at the Wuhan lab until November 2019. When COVID is thought to have started spreading in the city. At the time, none of her colleagues displayed any coronavirus-like symptoms, she says. Quote, we went to dinners together, lunches, yada, 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 Dr. Anderson told Bloomberg in an interview in 2021.
So they were asymptomatic. Woo!
We had the vaccine. Wait, 2021? The virologist also confirmed to The Telegraph that she had attended a conference on the Nipah virus in Singapore in December 2019 alongside Dr. Shengli Shi, the senior scientist at the Wuhan lab, and many other researchers from the WIV. Colleagues say if there had been a leak and 3 of her juniors were ill, she would not have been there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, sure. Because, in a government and military controlled lab, surely if they were responsible for starting a pandemic, they would be running around and telling everybody that that was the case. Surely they wouldn't be pressured from their military and their communist government to, I don't know, keep a secret about the fact that they started a pandemic. No, you just got to take them at their word. It's very cool.
Yeah. Well, that's
the trust that these people have in the Chinese establishment is truly breathtaking. And in a way, I kind of admire it.
The loyalty is to be commended, I guess. But yeah, there you go. We'll learn more, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll check it out.
Yep. What's next?
Who knows? It could either be the sort of beginning of a new era of truth telling, or just another step in the plan to propagandize the entire planet into, basically gaslighting us. But that's cool.
Speaking
of, we'll see.
Covering the Earth in gaslight.
Climate change. Climate change.
Mass extinction.
Yeah. This is Whales Online with Rainbow Heart.
Yeah.
As the logo.
This is kind of a fun one. It's just kind of quick. We don't need to go too deep into it. But the headline is virus which kills one person a second. Likely to be heading to UK, scientists say. So big spooky virus. A virus that kills one person every second is highly likely to be heading to the UK thanks to climate change, according to scientists. The UK government has been warned about Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever, CCHF. Yeah, we've heard of this before, which has a mortality rate of up to 40% and is spread by ticks or animal tissue. I will save you all the time. Of course, climate change, warming the planet. So the ticks and fleas and mosquitoes are moving north from Africa up into Europe. And it's because climate change that this disease is soon going to be affecting Europe, which I will say has, similar to a lot of different stories like this that we've seen, has sort of weird racist undertones, which is like, yeah, this disease has been sort of ravaging Africa for a century and is well known, and these people live with this deadly disease all the time. But right now, we care very much about climate change because we can't have white people getting this disease. We need to change the entire world economy and the entire world order so that we can keep white people from getting a disease that Africans have been getting forever. It's one of these lovely moments where you see the sort of climate change green establishment show their true colors, even though they have a nice rainbow heart up on their headline there. They are showing their true colors, which is, racist. And I'll save you the rest of the thing because it's a bunch of blah, 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 but you get it. Climate change bad because now white people get sick instead of just Africans.
Well, because it kills one person a second and it can be spread with ticks, can we call it TikTok?
Yeah, we can. And we will. Nice.
You guys got TikTok.
But there's an answer. There's an answer to this problem. And it's one that Noah knew long ago.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
And Kevin Costner as well.
Yeah, coming from the U.S. sun, okay? Not the U.K. sun, the U.S. sun. The headline here is Waterworld, incredible plan for the real-life Noah's Ark floating city that would be home to 40,000 people. When? In the apocalypse. I'm just really enjoying this sort of movement of the apocalypse coming into the mainstream media.
Man, I can understand why they destroyed our content from the past, especially, Face Like the Sun. You can't have Face Like the Sun out there hogging all the headlines, like, hey, this dude talked about this in 2016. You gotta have
exactly
the Sun US carry the load.
The ocean-based metropolis would provide a self-sufficient habitat for 40,000 people, designers in Japan say. The developers, N-Arc. Okay, N-Arc they call it. It's very sneaky. They didn't want to just call it Noah's Ark. They just used his initials. The developers, N-Arc, even claimed the zone named Dogen City would be resilient to an apocalypse. Measuring 4 kilometers in circumference, the plan would be for inhabitants to be able to get to any point on the zone within an hour. Oh, they're mixing in like some sustainable city.
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
15-minute city. A range of buildings, including it's funny, 4 kilometers in circumference. That means the furthest away you could be from any other part of the city is 4 kilometers. Yeah. 4 kilometers is about a normal leisurely walking speed. So yeah, you could get anywhere in this 4 kilometers in 1 hour by walking. A range of buildings, including a sports stadium, is proposed, and properties that would be able to be moved by sailing them to another location.
Yeah, have you seen the video here? They have like instead of the streets, it's just water.
Yeah,
stuff
it's kind of like a
modular
type of thing. You can rearrange your city. I mean, that's kind of gives a new definition to moving house, Gons. You just move your whole house.
Float to the other side.
Yeah. The infrastructure is circular in design to protect it from severe weather. Okay, don't know why exactly that is the case.
Tsunamis, bro.
Tsunamis don't hurt circles, okay? Circle, an ancient design that is tsunami proof.
Well, it does appeal to the flat earth model because, their whole thing is there's a ring shaped outer ring that's supposed to prevent it from tsunamis. It's like an outer wall of the flat earth model. It's like a dome thing.
See, the best designs are ones designed by God himself. There you go, flat earthers. You got one from me, okay?
The water doesn't curve in the city.
These are, and then it just kind of goes into a lot of the details. It's just kind of, a circular floating city with a bunch of stuff that cities have.
They have the underwater edge data centers to keep everything cool. I think that's a kind of a good idea. All the computing mechanisms are underwater.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Well, this is how we're going to save. We're going to save all ourselves from climate change. Is a cool Noah's Ark. Again, a biblical sort of concept that will save us from the apocalypse. I would say not the only biblical concept that will save us from the apocalypse, people, but certainly one of them.
Mm-hmm. Dogen means source of the way.
Ooh.
Japanese source of the way.
Wow.
So we'll probably maybe Jesus will come visit it. Maybe when Jesus throws the millstone or the angel throws the millstone into the water, and Book of Revelation, Dogen City gets destroyed.
Yeah, this thing's kind of shaped like a millstone.
Yeah, it is. It is sort of.
And here's a fun little kicker. African Development Bank chiefs have already raised and earmarked a whopping $12.6 billion to create a new motorway along the Gulf of Guinea from Abidjan to Lagos. Have no idea what that has to do with the Ark. Why is this in
listen,
here?
If Joe Biden can build a bridge from the Pacific to the coast of India or whatever it is, hey, anybody can build. These guys can build whatever they want, man. Just ask Joe; he'll pay for it. The American taxpayers will pay for it.
This is interesting. Right in the middle of this article, for almost no reason, it just starts talking about Africa. Yeah. It comes after it was revealed that Africa is fast becoming home to the world's first megalopolis, with a horizon full of skyscrapers and motorways set to span the length of 5 countries. Yeah. We've talked about this, the 1,000 kilometer length city.
Yeah.
And they're just talking about it for no reason in the middle of this article about the floating city. So that's cool.
Well, you competing interests here, This is all happening in Japan or whatever.
It's much better than those land cities like in Africa.
Yeah. Well, it is kind of, putting the 2 and 2 together from last article about the virus that's going to kill and putting it into these floating cities. And there's a word in here that I wanted to highlight. And did I not highlight it? Oh no, maybe I got rid of it. It has something to do with climate. Hold on, let me see if I can just find it. No. Oh shoot. Well, it had something to do with like a climate compliant region or something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What was?
Oh,
do you know
that's,
the word?
That's like the only reason for this.
I know, but there was a phrase that they used to talk about it, and I'm trying to remember what it was, because it's kind of it's kind of like the panem from the Hunger Games. It's like zones of areas that are going to be, oh, this area is climate protected. You know, kind of like how we have with national parks and stuff now, but it'll be like a large region, like almost a country or whatever. And it's all
the way it's
smart
separated inside. You mean?
Yeah. Well,
it says these are a habitable ring containing the main habitable zones, an undersea data center, and medical research facilities, and flexible inner ring structures that can move freely in the inner bay.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. So it's like the outer ring is solid, but everything inside just kind of floats around like a bunch of floating things.
Yeah.
like a trash island, like kind of how we have in the middle of the Pacific right now.
Right.
You know, there's the trash island the size of Texas.
Which, by the way, NARC, which looks like NARC, their goal. Did you read the part where it says their goal is to get it done by 2030? You must have.
I actually did not read that part, but yes, NARC's development roadmap currently earmarks the year 2030 for completion.
Yeah.
So full completion of this thing by 2030. That is incredibly, what's the word? I don't know, motivated. And designers see the city as a sea-based version of Elon Musk's SpaceX.
That's how you get people.
So they're
to build
doing.
It. That's how you got to pitch it. You got to pitch everything in the form of it's Elon's version, it's Elon's thing, but like this.
They explain, quote, "New Ocean is a term intended for the ocean version of the private space business innovation New Space, started by SpaceX. We'll propose 6 elements: medical, food, housing, information, and electrical services to realize New Ocean, promote the entry of various companies, and promote ocean development activities." Yeah, great. Yeah, when the land becomes uninhabitable, just send everybody out to sea.
Yeah. Shoot, I couldn't find the word, but yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward here. We get it. We understand.
Let's talk about Bill Gates.
Time to talk a little Bill Gates to wrap things up a little bit here.
We're taking things that are genetically modified organisms and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein, right into the vein, right into the vein.
Right into the vein. The Wall Street Journal reported, this is just a setup here, Bud Light loses title as top-selling U.S. beer. Oh no, all this Dylan Mulvaney stuff, Basil. Bud Light has been dethroned. They have been knocked off based on all this trans propaganda that they perpetrated. So, hey, there's the king has been decrowned. Is that a way to put it? Decrowned? Dethroned. And it's a wide open field. Anybody can get in there and become the new top-selling U.S. beer. And I think somebody has some plans. Your buddy, Bill Gates. The drinksbusiness.com headline: Bill Gates' wastewater beer could be as disruptive as Microsoft.
Ooh, wastewater beer. You know what? I got bad news for Bill Gates because wastewater beer already exists. It's called Bud Light.
Well, there you go. It might. He sees the opportunity, Basil.
Yeah.
Disgruntled consumers might refer to bad beer as tasting like dishwater. But new tech being developed in California could mean that before long, beer could be made from purified shower, laundry, and sink water, thanks to Bill Gates. Earlier this year, Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft and world's fourth richest man, took an almost $1 billion stake in Heineken, the world's third largest brewer. That is an investment. Okay. But one of his sponsorships could herald a drinks industry revolution, potentially worth hundreds of billions of dollars a year. Back in 2012, Bill and Melinda Gates Charitable Foundation gave a grant to a startup company called Epic Clean Tech as part of a Reinvent the Toilet challenge. It's always a toilet.
Yeah.
Toilets!
This was Bill Gates's Reinvent the Toilet.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Toilet.
Yeah. The idea was to spur development into water reuse and conservation. 11 years later, according to CNBC, Epic has produced a test beer, Epic One Water Brew, which is made from wastewater. The process used could revolutionize the whole drinks industry at the same time as combating growing water shortages around the globe, not least in the U.S., where severe shortages are predicted from as early as next year due to climate change and population density. Even though California, people are leaving California. The United States calculates that just 2.5% of the world's water is fresh water, with extra pressure being put on that resource as the population heads rapidly towards 8 billion. I thought we just passed 8 billion officially. I guess
how they're like, hey, we're making beer out of wastewater. And don't worry, don't freak out. We're all going to die unless we do it. Okay, we're all going to die. The climate's exploding. We're all going to die unless we drink the beer. So don't focus so much on the pee-pee beer. Just focus on how you'll die if you don't drink the pee-pee beer.
Listen to, okay, so here we go. Co-founder Aaron Tartakovsky told the broadcaster, quote, "Water is omnipresent in all our lives. It grows the food we eat. We use it to bathe, cook, and clean. And yet we know so little about how water works, how it gets into our taps, and where the wastewater goes." Quote, "We are trying to amplify the water story, to tell it in a different way. And we are using the medium of beer to tell that story." Mm-hmm. Tell a different story about water, okay? You guys have it all wrong. The water story needs to change. In an experiment, Epic fed wastewater from a large San Francisco apartment block through, quote, ultrafiltration membranes 100 times thinner than a human hair. They filter out impurities, and
it's too thin.
The clean water is then disinfected by using ultraviolet light, Basil. It's not just the filter. They zap it with ultraviolet light.
They should not brag about how thin the filter is. They should be talking about how big the filter is.
How thick it is, and how nothing gets through except pure H2O.
Mm-hmm.
Tartakovsky told CNBC this process is comparable with the biology that takes place in the human stomach. And it works. He claimed that independent testing cleaned the water.
Yeah, don't worry.
And it met U.S. federal standards. Oh, great. Thank you.
It's the same as if you drink pee-pee, your body will filter it out. What's the difference? Okay, we just do it beforehand.
Cleaned water was passed to Devil's Canyon Brewing Co. in San Carlos, California, which produced the Epic One Water Brew.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Bill Gates.
The devil is making the pee-pee beer for Bill Gates. This is a great story.
Somebody call up the Bill Gates PR team. Tell them not a good look. Not a good look, Bill. Don't send the purified wastewater to Devil's Canyon Brewing to make your beer.
Somebody made whoopsies.
Oh man. There you go. I mean, yeah, it's going to scale. It's going to be great, Basil. This is all part of the plan. We're going to be living on a water world with water world tech. But also, we're going to be drinking that water because that water is going to be beer.
You can't get away from it.
This is all.
This is all. I don't know. See, Bill Gates, as we know, pays millions and millions of dollars for PR. His whole thing is being crafted by a crack team of the professional image crafters, and for some reason, they are just obsessed with making Bill Gates drink pee-pee. This was a couple years ago. We reported on his water, where he drank a cup of water from his sewer sludge filtration thingy, and talking about how we were all going to be drinking this.
His omniprocessor to clean waste.
Do you have that video?
I do.
We played it a long time ago. Here, play that, because and watch just how enthusiastically he drinks the pee-pee poo-poo water.
Generates clean water.
It will grow to every corner of the earth that needs it because it makes money every day.
It's water.
It's water.
It's water. It's
Ah,
water.
It's water, guys.
I love it too. They did that right after saying how he's going to make so much money. He's going to make so much money turning pee-pee into drinking water. And not even, this was like straight up sludge. They were pulling sewer sludge out and filtering the water out. And he takes just the daintiest little tiny baby sip of water that any human, I'm not even positive any water entered his mouth. It was kind of like watching, watching Obama when he was given Flint water to drink and he fake drank it. This is pretty much what Bill Gates did, but it's gonna make so much money. He did it for the paycheck.
Well, we have been talking about the sewer surveillance thing here.
We'll control them with toileting.
Toilets!
And I always say, we were probably I think we might have been the first podcast to really talk about sewer surveillance in 2020.
Yeah.
And I did kind of try to find that episode, and I had a hard time nailing it down because we changed formats. Sometime in that process. But anyway, so early 2020, we were tracking the whole sewer surveillance thing, and we noticed Bill Gates, have a kind of a role to play in all that. And I just learned about this company that I just want to bring to you. It's called Wastewater Sphere. Sphere.
Oh, it's kind of like an orb.
Yeah.
We've got the orb, the sphere, the circular floating city.
Yeah.
This is great. Okay, tell me about the sphere.
The ticker here is W Sphere. And Sphere stands for SARS Public Health Environmental Response. Sphere. Okay.
What does this have to do with SARS?
Everything. Their logo is the quintessential coronavirus, with the ball or the circle with like the spikes.
The spike proteins, right?
Except the top spike is replaced with like a flame design.
I think it's like a water droplet. Like it's a water droplet. Literally what the logo is communicating is here's a water droplet
that's COVID.
With corona in it, with coronavirus.
Their mission is to advance environmental surveillance of sewage, informing local and global efforts for monitoring and supporting public health measures to combat disease.
Yes.
It's the exact thing we were talking about, sewer surveillance.
Right, yeah.
The reason why I bring it up is because the donors here, W Sphere, is being developed as part of a larger wastewater surveillance project led by PATH, P-A-T-H, and is funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the Global Innovation Fund. So there you go. Bill Gates he's part of the W Sphere. We're funding for it, and he wants sewer surveillance, which makes all the sense in the world. And
he's obsessed.
He's obsessed.
He's obsessed. Bill Gates is. Why is nobody talking about how obsessed Bill Gates is with poo poo pee pee?
Toilets.
Well, that's probably part of his Epstein thing too. That it's he's probably thinking, oh man, that Epstein stuff is bad, but good thing they don't know about the real stuff I'm into.
The rest of the stuff, right?
Which is like some real bad, real bad stuff. Real bad. And then, of course, just to wrap up the Bill Gates thing, part of the issue here was Bill was visiting Xi out in China this week. And so the New York Times has reported Bill Gates, in first visit in China since 2019, meets with Xi. And this article really, it was nothing. They met, they talked, great. He followed Blinken, blah, 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 blah. But there's a part here at the very last paragraph that I think is the only pertinent information here. Mr. Gates retains ties with China through the Gates Foundation, recently pledging $50 million in a renewed partnership with the Beijing municipal government and a top Chinese university. There you go. So the whole reason for his trip was to reestablish or renew partnership with some CCP arms out in China.
Yeah, he has to maintain his sort of like globalist fan club, or else he won't be able to, make everybody drink sewer water.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
There's your update.
Thank you.
There's Bill Gates. There he goes.
Well,
and by the way, last episode, my little subtitle was Billy G, because Billy was meeting G. And I was going to do the whole Billy G is not my lover thing, but I didn't.
Nice one.
Mm-hmm. Are you ready to thank some producers?
Okay. Can we please thank some producers?
Yeah. All right, we're going to thank some producers coming in with their talent. We appreciate those who come in with their treasure. Another way you can support the show is with your talent. And it helps us build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. And to do so, let's kick it off with a speak pipe.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Go to canarycrynewstalk.com, look for any page on the website, and you will see a green tab on the right side or the bottom. Click on it. It'll give you it'll open up a little pop-up window that allows you to record a message of up to 90 seconds, and it will be sent to us, and we shall read it, or not read it, play it. And make sure you leave a message. If you do leave a message that you want private, make sure you mention that at the top so that we don't accidentally play the message. But we have one here from Sam L.
Just wanted to give a quick shout out to all the producers out there who are putting together all the other aspects of the show aside from the audio itself. Basil and Gons, you guys have been doing great. Been listening for several years now. I'm actually back on your back catalog of Canary Cry radio and listening to old interviews with folks like Rob Skiba and others from 2012. And it's amazing how on point you guys have been because of all the things you were looking into and seeing even back then. So thank you so much for that, for constantly keeping up with what's going on in the world. I will say I steal links all the time from this show. So I appreciate timestampers and people who do the show notes and all that kind of stuff, because I have a personal Discord or private Discord that we run where we talk about similar topics. I'm constantly throwing links in there from off this show. I appreciate it so much. I wanted to just read a quick verse, because there's folks that, you're listening to this show and you're like, hey, man, what do I do about this? There's all this craziness in the world, the Antichrist, the beast, what do I do? And I was just reminded of Acts chapter 2, starting in verse 37. Now, when they heard this, they were pricked in their heart and said unto Peter and to the rest of the apostles, men and brethren, what shall we do? So what did Peter say? Peter said unto them, repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ for the remission of sins, and ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost. For the promise is unto you and to your children and to all that are afar off, even as many as the Lord our God shall call. Thank you so much.
There you go.
Wow, that's great.
Sam
What a great
L.
message. Thank you very much, Sam.
Yeah, it's very cool. And using the resources we provide is part of the value that we provide. So
I love it. I love to hear that
you should be sharing those links.
Using the links, using the back catalog, seeing the connections. What a wonderful message. Thank you very much, Sam.
Yep. All right, we're going to do some audio production. Hey, we have okay, we can do that later. Oh, I thought I missed something here. Did we miss something? Did we forget to thank some producers that I don't think we thanked treasure producers, Basil.
You are correct. No, we're doing it in this segment.
Oh.
You're just doing it a little out of order.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Well, there you go. Okay. Let's go ahead and thank producers came in with their music here, and we have, I believe, one. Yeah, Brother G came in. Thank you, Brother G. He had a note that said, "Glad to see you're back, Basil. Gons did a great job, but we're all glad to see you healthy nonetheless. God bless you all." And a couple tracks here. This one's called 88 is a Key.
Sir, the computer is down. I can't sell you a computer.
I can't check our inventory. I can't lock the front door. It's impossible to figure out the sales tax.
It's 8%.
Yes, and 8 is a key on the computer.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's fun. It was a fun little clip.
It's a little too close to home with this generation.
It's a cyber pandemic.
Yeah, there's a second one here called The Beast.
By now, your name and particulars have been fed into every laptop, desktop, mainframe, and supermarket scanner that collectively make up the global information conspiracy, otherwise known as The Beast.
Whoa. King of the Hill looks like
King of the Hill's on top of it, man.
They're listening to Canary cry. I think that's what's going on. Thank you very much, Brother G. Appreciate that. All right, let's do art.
One art, please.
We got Sir Dove.
One art, please, from Dove.
And Sir Dove brings us a piece with a note that says, "Peace. For today's artwork, I did a potential sticker design for the supply drop. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you're doing. I'll keep praying for you, and Dove."
Yeah, this is funny. This is Klaus Custom Cabinets. You know, Klaus's cabinets. We all know about his penetrating cabinets. We've got a picture of Klaus. He's wearing a nice, respectable-looking button-up shirt there with the Klaus Custom Cabinets logo on it, which is hilariously a box, like a cabinet, a rectangle with an all-seeing eye in it. Yeah. So, you know, you got to hide it in the logos. It's required for globalist corporations. Yeah. And he's holding a drill there behind him. He's got some quality cabinets. Down in the bottom, there's a nice little starburst with some text that says, "They're impenetrable." I said that really cool. They're impenetrable. Impenetrable? That's what it is. Yes, there's no penetrating Klaus's cabinets. The Klaus, the Klaus logo there has, of course, reptilian eye in the A. Got a again reference to the reptilian Illuminati overlords. And this is really wonderful. I think this is a great plan B for Klaus in case world domination on behalf of Satan doesn't work out.
Trying to figure out what the time is on his watch.
Yes, these Sir Dove Easter eggs. It's 12:33. Something like that, probably. I think.
Well, if he's
1:33.
1:33, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Only Dove knows. Thank you very much, Dove. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I love it. This is good. Yes, we'll put that on the list for stickers to go into the supply drop. Maybe even in this upcoming supply drop. Yes, of course. We've listed all the cool things like the Age of Deceit DVD, the musical album, of which I will give the artist's name. I'm not sure. I just want to make sure I have permission to give the artist's name. But also, we always load it up with Legends of the Canarium trading cards. We've got stickers. We've got all sorts of good stuff that goes in there as well. And with that, we should thank some of our treasure producers. Oh, wait.
No.
Let's do a microfiction first.
Microfiction.
Kick it off with Rung Smash.
The captain limps around the corner, his leg aching. When he sees the freight elevator, he'll have to wait hours for the lunch delivery to ride it to the ground floor. But to his surprise, it opens with a man in a coyote skin hood with a hole puncher.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thank you very much, Runk Smash. The man in the coyote hole punching device. I think I'm going to trademark that one. Thank you very much, Runk Smash.
Yep. We also have one from Stefan S.
Oh, do we?
We do. I'm trying to get it in there. It's a very laggy computer here, so it's
Thank you.
Giving me a little trouble to open up documents.
Defending your very laggy computer against the unstoppable march of progress.
Yeah, it is true. This computer is sort of ripe for cyber pandemic of its own. Okay, here's Stefan S. with his epic microfiction.
Scotland Yard notified us that your target's DNA was detected this morning at Heathrow's septic system, Terminal A, near Gate 10. Men's water closet, a number 2.
Oh, yeah, this was about the story. I think you were out, Basil. There was a story about how they can pull DNA right from the air now, and
yes,
privacy
in
people
bathrooms.
are scared. Yeah.
The lingering particles can be used to pull your DNA out of a bathroom.
Especially Bill Gates.
That's pretty weird. I don't like it.
Yeah. Oh, and then the mystery shedder. I had a lot of fun reading that story. That was a good one.
I missed it, but I bet it was wonderful.
There was somebody in Ohio who had a mysterious variant of COVID, and he was shedding it all over the sewers. So they called him the super shedder.
That's funny. That is very funny.
And they're trying to figure out, and the whole thing was kind of scary because they're like, we know that this person travels from their home in one city to this other city because we can see it in the sewage, and they're trying to nail down who it is. It's so creepy, but also very funny. Only thing to do is laugh, otherwise we cry. All right, producers.
Yeah, doing things a little bit out of order here, but we're going to thank some of our treasure producers. Remember, folks, we're on value for value. That's the thing. No corporate money, no communist money, no cartel money, no money whatsoever that would sort of insist that we have a working stream. Instead, we are produced by people who get value. And then what we are pledging to do is use the value they put into the show to create more value, like getting Gon's a computer that doesn't lag through the whole stream. And we thank them very much. These are people who have recognized the paradigm shift of taking the power out of corporate hands when it comes to which media survives, which media doesn't survive, which brings value to people rather than bringing value to corporate interests. That's what the value for value system is all about. And we highly recommend that everybody participate in whatever way you can. Remember, it's not about the number per se. You're going to say a little prayer, ask the Lord, what is the show worth to your life? And you can put that value back in with your talent, your treasure, or your time. But these are some people who supported the show financially, and we're going to thank them profusely. Ready?
Yep.
We already thanked our executive producer, Anonymous. Thank you very much. But we got a few more here, starting with Lady Night Little Wing.
Lady Night Little Wing.
Yeah, Lady Night Little Wing came in with a nice round number, which we appreciate very much. I did not see a note. Did you see a note from Lady Night Little Wing?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm just doing a quick little search just in case. There's that. It says, woot, Basil is back, baby. XO Lady Night Little Wing. Thank you very much, Lady Night Little Wing. Next up, we've got producer Brenton B. came in with a nice round number, and we appreciate that very much.
Brenton B.
Yeah. Next up, we got Sir Alex Protocol V2, Night of the Brian Protocol, came in pocket full of sevens. He's been producing the show for 184 episodes in a row.
100. Oh, I am not prepared for that. 184. Oh. Let's see.
Yeah, 184, baby.
184.
Okay.
There you go, Sir Alex Protocol.
There we go. Of course, we've got producer Morgan E. coming in, producing the show. 40 episodes in a row. Thank you very much, Morgan E.
She's close to Haramabif, the answer, 42. Yeah.
Yes, 42. Next up, we've got producer SMG, who came in, supported on the Patreon. Thank you very much, SMG.
SMG, thank you very much.
Submachine Gun, thank you. Next up, we've got Dame Gale, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's coming in, pocket full of sevens, 272 episodes in a row.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
Women rule.
We got a note here. It says, welcome back. Love, 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 and more love. Do that again, and I'll love you more. X's and O's. Thank you very much, Dame Gale.
Thank you, Dame Gale.
And a short list today. That concludes the list of financial producers who came in. Since more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. We've got a few more people who came in under that. Let's thank them now. Starting Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 310 in a row.
Woo! Sir Casey.
Sir Morton out of the Burning Chariots come in. He's on 242 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Moore.
We got Veronica D, 272.
Veronica D, thank you.
And we got Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, on a 299 episode in a row streak.
Getting close.
One more. And that's it. That's everybody who came in financially for this episode. We appreciate that very much. And folks, think about it. What is this show worth you? What sort of value has it brought to your life? What sort of resource has the work here brought to your ability to navigate the world, either within your own capacities or in social environments, or simply just having an opportunity to realize that you're not alone in realizing that something is not right around here. Whatever that is, you can put that value back in. It's the only way we survive. And go ahead and do that at canarycry.support.
Canarycry.support.
Canarycry.support. Okay.
We're supposed to do a meetup report.
Supposed to do a meetup report?
Yeah, at some point.
Sure.
Today.
Yeah, sure. Do it. Yeah, we could do it. Yeah, we could do it whenever. If you got it, let's do it now.
Canary Cry Meetups.
Yeah, canarycrymeetups.com. Look for a meetup happening near you. Well, there's one happening tomorrow, I think. June 17th, Philadelphia. Mr. Jag.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, hopefully people
Come on, Philadelphia producers. Let's go.
The one schedule after that is not till September, Eastern North Carolina, and then there's Camden, Tennessee in October. If you want to do something sooner, go to canarycrymeetups.com, and it'll give you instructions. Choose a location, figure out a date and time, make a flyer, promote. We can help with any one of those steps if you'd like. So look for that. We do have a meetup report from Cool Runningsmon. Send us the message. And the note reads, howdy there, y'all. Cool Runningsmon here with the meetup report from the Glen Rose, Texas meetup extravaganza last month. Truth Transistor Rob arranged the meetup, and because of the massive audience of the Canaryverse, we had one local attendees from as far as Houston and San Antonio, included some pictures from the museum and activities in County. So, I got some photos here, and I think we have the permission to show them.
Where was this the Christian Museum meetup?
I think so. I think that's the one. Glen Rose, Texas meetup?
I don't remember exactly where it was.
They definitely had dinosaurs because there they are in front of a dinosaur. Let's see, including some pictures from the museum and activities in Dino Country, as well as the audio meetup reports. I'll play that in a second. Thanks, Hombres, for the amazing podcast and putting out a beacon for Guts people to come together. Here's how the meetup went down. We ate at a couple of restaurants, lunch at H&H Grill, then went to the museum. After that, we went to a park and sang some worship songs and discussed the armor of God and how to apply them to our lives. Then went to another restaurant for dinner called Sexton Mill. Most people went home Saturday night. Others spent the night and left early on Sunday morning, but we made new friends. And I have the audio recording here. Hold it, please. It was a very interesting link being shared here. Uh-oh, where did it go? No, I lost the link. My link. What happened to my link? Oh, no.
Classic move, folks. It would not be a Canary Cry meetup report if Gons did not lose a link.
I can't believe I lost the link.
How did you lose it? I just opened it up. It looked great.
I know.
Looking at it right now.
It was all ready to go. The link is missing from my messages.
You mean your tab? You lost a tab?
I lost a tab, but I also lost the actual link itself. Like, where did it go?
Sounds like it's time for a new computer.
You know, I would be able to solve it rather quickly if I can just whoosh my hands around like I'm in some kind of VR headset.
Metaverse? Yeah. I got links all over the place, man.
All right, hold on. Where did this... Can you play from your computer? Is it all connected?
I could probably do that. Yeah, I just need to change one little setting. Let's see if I can change it fast enough. Boop. Like this. Tell me if you can hear this. I have no controller.
No, I can hear it right here, so...
It's you hear that?
No.
No. Oh, wait. No, I got to do it this way. Hold on. I go here.
Okay.
I did this a long time ago. Let me see if I can do this. Can you hear this? Let me go back.
No, I cannot hear anything. Nope. I can hear it through the headphones or something, but it's not coming through. Here, I have it here. Here, this is from Cool Running.
Okay, great.
No, I'm gonna have to refresh because it's looping at first second. What is going on?
What's going on? What sort of madness?
Hold on, here we go. Come on, play.
This is Running Spawn here at the Glen Rose, Texas Canary News Meetup. We've got all these fine folks here. I'm your resident head boy body double for Basil, and here I'm standing next to Toof Chat.
And this is Tove.
And this is Dwight B. And with my wife Teresa, we're from San Antonio.
My name is Rob, aka True Transistor, and I'm Basil's body double's body double.
And I'm Damien. I'm down in College Station, Texas.
Adam42, join the Discord.
This is Adam D from Plano.
What's up, homies? This is Sanchez. What's up? This is Madison, aka Seraphim in the chat.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Think outside the cave, everybody.
Such a valley. I love that. That was a great live orchestration of what there's maybe a dozen people there, something like that.
It takes coordination for sure.
Sounds like a fun crowd. That sounds like a meetup I could show up to. Sounds like they're making some fun times. Thank you very much, Glen Rose Meetup.
Yeah.
And of course, lots of recognizable names showing up in that meetup. We appreciate it very much, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And so definitely, if you haven't been to a meetup, go to one. And again, if there's not one near you, definitely put one on yourself. People will show up.
Definitely put one on yourself. Just email us with a time and a place, and we will tell the world, and Canarians from your area will flock. They will escape their cages and flock together. There's almost certainly Canarians near you, just by the numbers. It's a matter of giving them a place to go when they break out of their cage, folks. Come on. And Philadelphia Canarians, go to canarycrymeetups.com. Get in touch. Go to the Philadelphia meetup.
This is fun.
Okay. Let's.
There we go.
Transhuman this thing. It'll be
we got a story. Ready for a story, guns?
My generation is hopefully with the advances in science, the first generation to live forever, or the last generation that's going to die.
Now, it doesn't necessarily come as a surprise to everybody as an advancement, but just know it is an advancement, and a pretty big one at that for those transhumanist watchers out there. This is coming from Guardian.com. Synthetic human embryos created in groundbreaking advance. Synthetic human embryos. Holy moly. Scientists have created synthetic human embryos using stem cells, a groundbreaking advance that sidesteps the need for eggs or sperm. So this is asexual reproduction of human embryos. Scientists say these model embryos, which resemble those in the earliest stages of human development, could provide a crucial window on the impact of genetic disorders and biological causes of recurrent miscarriage. Of course, yes, this is being put in the context of preventing disease and not putting synthetic embryos into already existing synthetic wombs.
Not grow children whose names are not in book life.
Synthetic babies. However, the word also raises serious ethical issues as the lab-grown entities. What's that? They're calling the interesting thing here. Remember, the pro-choice argument is that embryos are not people. They're not a baby. They're not worth saving or whatever, or keeping. However, the work raises serious ethical and legal issues as the lab-grown entities fall outside current legislation in the UK and most other countries. So they are recognizing that these synthetic embryos are some sort of entity.
You know what's troubling is if the governments around the world do or act or respond to this type of thing, like genetic quote-unquote advancements in science, the same way that they've been reacting to crypto, we're going to see around the decade, just like openly like hybrid creatures, like we just grow.
Maybe hybrid, but it doesn't have to be hybrid. It could just be straight up synthetic. Just like
completely synthetic.
Don't have a mom, don't have a dad. I was formed by by what are they called?
Joe Biden.
Just random.
Joe talked about how the left Democrats they do this all the time. It's not your children. It's everybody's children. Our children. Yeah.
Right.
So maybe what they're talking about. They're talking about the clone army of non-parental entities that they're growing.
Yeah, the asexual reproduction of human beings through the state's scientific The structures do not have a beating heart or the beginnings of a brain, but include cells that would typically go on to form the placentia, yolk sac, and the embryo itself. Professor Magdalena Zernick-Goetz of the University of Cambridge and California Institute of Technology described the work as a plenary address in a plenary address on Wednesday at the International Society for Stem Cell Research's annual meeting in Boston. Quote, "We can create human embryo-like models by the reprogramming of embryonic stem cells," he told the meeting. "There's no near-term prospect of the synthetic embryos being used clinically. It would be illegal to implant them into a patient's womb." So they are admitting that these embryo-like models can be implanted into a womb. And it is not yet clear whether these structures have the potential to continue maturing beyond the earlier stages of development.
I'm telling you, man, they probably already did this with LeBron James. LeBron James probably government.
Why LeBron James now?
LeBron James. Because he's a 6'10", 270-pound, but very athletic and very intelligent super soldier-like figure.
I see.
It's been on Reddit for years, Basil. You got to catch up.
Okay.
No, the idea, because his whole story is that he didn't have a father, and I think he's known his father, and his mother was a lady of the night, you can say.
Sure.
And so, there's theories out there that, like, hey, those lady of the night, they work a lot with the intelligence folks, and maybe they gave her some special seed at one point that became their. And LeBron, he's the chosen one. He was in the cover of Sports Illustrated at the 15. And have you ever seen him in person, Basil?
Did we just not give you an opportunity to talk about basketball this episode? Is that what the mistake we made? We need to build in basketball segments?
There's the mistake. I just bring it up.
Okay. Yeah.
So have you seen this man in person?
I've seen videos and pictures of him.
Yeah. If you saw him in person, you'd think, there's no way that's like a human,
Have you seen him in person?
I have, yes.
Okay.
That's about it while you were gone. I spent half the show was Canary Cry Gone's basketball stories.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's all starting to make sense now.
Anyway, I just know because we talked about it a few episodes ago. It just reminds me, like, there these stories about, like, we created the synthetic embryo implanted in people, and hey, I want to know.
Yeah, right. Well, surely by the time we're hearing about it, it's already several steps ahead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty big deal. I mean, it seems about every few months they take us one step closer to synthetic baby gestation. Of course, we've had the synthetic wombs have been created. We had the synthetic embryos. Now we have the developments where, first they announced the developments where sperm wasn't needed. You could just do it with stem cells and egg. But now you just don't need any parents at all. You can just use a stem cell line and make it work.
Ooh, look at this. Part of at the end of the article talks about how the significant unanswered questions on whether these structures, in theory, have the potential to grow into a living creature. The synthetic embryos grown from mouse cells were reported to appear almost identical to natural embryos, but when they were implanted into the wombs of female mice, they did not develop into live animals. What did they develop into? In April, researchers in China created synthetic embryos from monkey cells and implanted them to the wombs of adult monkeys, a few of which showed the initial signs of pregnancy, but none of which continued to develop beyond a few days. Scientists say it's not clear whether the barrier to more advanced development is mere technical or has a more fundamental biological cause. So try
like the breath of God, breathing life.
It's funny because they're kind of not shy about it. They're like, we tried it with the mice, and it didn't really work out. Just kind of gloop glop in the belly, and then
just a matter of time. 2030, baby, 2030.
Just in time for floating ocean cities.
Yeah.
And we're going to be drinking wastewater. We can't be drinking human wastewater recycled. That's gross. It's going to be synthetically born people wastewater.
It just keeps getting worse and worse, folks. We are heading in one direction, and we are happy to be heading in that direction with you all, our favorite people.
They've been creating animal hybrids for decades. We were made by the aliens.
Alex Jones was right. He's always right. We all know this. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. I want to thank just a couple more producers who make this show happen, and then we can all go have some lemonade.
Okay. Who we think first?
Starting with the Cleese. Thank you very much to the Clippies, the Clip Show, the Managed Channel on YouTube and Odyssey and soon to Rumble. Thank you to Edward, Liv, and Joel, and Laura for your hard work.
Hey, Basil.
And, yeah?
Did we Dame Maureen last episode?
I don't think we did. We need to do that. Yeah. Yes, but I don't want to do it at the end of this show. Let's do it properly.
We'll do it at the first break next episode, maybe.
I think we will do that best. Yes. Oh, geez, Maureen.
Yeah, we're horrible.
We'll do that. I know. We're still kind of getting had a little bit of fun with the format while I was on, and we're trying to get things put these back together.
Did anybody
here.
email you? Because I told them to email you with complaints about the structure of the show, if there were complaints.
You know, I have not checked my personal email in maybe a month, but I certainly can.
Oh, but
Did you give my personal email?
No,
or
how would I get your personal email?
Well,
You're not a real person.
Basil.rosewater@gmail.com is an email that out there y'all can use. I just talk about once a month. It's not the thing. Okay. Sorry about that, Maureen. Sorry about that. Timestampers, because I don't think you know.
Okay. Timestamps. It's hard work. Here we go.
Timestamps. It's hard work. Timestamp.
That's right. Thank you to the timestampers. The timestamps for every episode are done proficiently and efficiently. And last episode 633, was done by Christine C. Thank you very much. Very important.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you to Jane for the links. Thank you, Clint, for the assistance. And other than that, folks, share the show. Share it with your friends. Share it with family. Share it with different family. Share it with any embryos you see, whether they're natural or synthetic. And embryos are people too. They need to hear the truth about how the mainstream corporate news media does not have. Embry bros.
Embry bros.
That's a cool one. Embry bros. It's like pro birthers, but they're kind of like bros.
Sounds like an NFT project.